America's history is filled with iconic moments: Gettysburg, the Alamo, the moon landing, triumphs and tragedies etched in our national memory. But what about the moments we've forgotten? The events that slipped through the cracks of time yet shaped the very fabric of our nation. Today, we journey into the shadows of the past, uncovering 10 forgotten moments that reverberate through American history. These are stories of resilience and tragedy, of innovation and conflict, of the ordinary people and extraordinary events that have made America what it is today. Join us as we unearth the forgotten and rediscover the past. Imagine a bustling city, the air thick with industry and the promise of a new year. Suddenly, a thunderous roar splits the air, not from the sky but from the waterfront. A storage tank, filled with 2.3 million gallons of molasses, buckles and erupts, unleashing a viscous wave upon Boston's North End. The Great Molasses Flood, as it came to be known, wasn't just a bizarre spectacle, it was a disaster. A 40-foot wave of sticky syrup, moving faster than a man could run, engulfed streets, homes, and people. The air grew heavy with the smell of molasses, mixed with the cries of the injured and the panicked shouts of rescuers. 21 souls lost their lives that day, swept away, crushed or drowned in the relentless tide of molasses. Over 150 were injured, some with burns from the scalding hot syrup. The North End, a vibrant immigrant community, was devastated. But from the wreckage of this peculiar tragedy, a new awareness dawned. The disaster exposed the lax safety standards of the rapidly industrializing nation. The public demanded accountability, leading to stricter regulations, improved building codes, and a greater focus on industrial safety. The Great Molasses Flood, though a bitter chapter in Boston's history, became an unexpected turning point. It served as a stark reminder that progress without precaution can come at a terrible cost, a lesson that continues to resonate in our modern industrial world. The year is 1932. America is in the grip of the Great Depression. Millions are unemployed, breadlines snake through cities, and hope feels like a distant memory. In this crucible of despair, a different kind of army gathers in Washington, D.C. They are not soldiers in uniform but veterans, many still bearing the scars of the Great War. These veterans, known as the Bonus Army, had come to claim what they believed was rightfully theirs, a cash bonus for their wartime service promised by the government but deferred until 1945. They argued that they needed the money now, not in some distant future. They came with their families, setting up makeshift camps across the city, a poignant reminder of the sacrifices they had already made for their country. But their pleas fell on deaf ears. The government, grappling with the economic crisis, refused to budge. Tensions boiled over on July 28 when police attempted to evict the veterans from their camps. Stones flew, tear gas choked the air, and chaos erupted. The situation escalated dramatically when Army Chief of Staff, General Douglas MacArthur, defied presidential orders and led a force of infantry and cavalry armed with bayonets and tear gas against the veterans. The images of American soldiers driving out American veterans shook the nation. The Bonus Army was dispersed, their demands unmet, their sacrifices seemingly forgotten. The event left a deep scar on the national psyche, highlighting the growing divide between the government and the people it was meant to serve. But the Bonus Army's struggle was not in vain. Public outcry over their treatment forced the government to reevaluate its commitment to veterans. It paved the way for the GI Bill of Rights after World War II, a landmark piece of legislation that provided education, housing, and other benefits to returning veterans. The year 1898, the United States, a young nation on the rise, watches as the Spanish Empire, once a global superpower, teeters on the brink of collapse. Cuba, a Spanish colony just 90 miles from Florida, is engulfed in a brutal war for independence. American sympathies lie with the Cubans, fueled by sensationalized newspaper accounts of Spanish atrocities. On the evening of February 15th, the USS Maine, a U.S. Navy battleship, sits at anchor in Havana Harbor, a symbol of American interest in the region. Suddenly, a deafening explosion rips through the ship, sending a fireball skyward and plunging the Maine into the murky depths. 266 American sailors perish in the blast. The nation is outraged. "Remember the Maine, to hell with Spain," becomes a rallying cry. Although the cause of the explosion remains a mystery to this day, the finger of blame is pointed squarely at Spain. Fueled by public anger and a thirst for expansion, the United States declares war on Spain on April 25th. The Spanish-American War, though brief, has far-reaching consequences. The United States emerges victorious, acquiring Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines, marking its ascent as a global power. The sinking of the Maine, whatever its true cause, had ignited a chain of events that propelled the United States onto the world stage, ushering in a new era of American foreign policy and forever altering the nation's destiny. Chapter 4. The Lost Colony of Roanoke. Whispers in the Wind. The year is 1587. The shores of what is now North Carolina hold a secret, a mystery that has lingered for centuries. It is the story of Roanoke, the first English colony in the New World, and its disappearance, a puzzle that continues to fascinate and frustrate historians to this day. Led by Governor John White, 115 men, women, and children arrive at Roanoke Island, eager to establish a permanent English settlement in this new land. They face hardship and conflict with the native Algonquin people, but persevere, driven by the dream of a new life. Governor White, however, is forced to return to England for supplies. He leaves behind his daughter Eleanor Dare and her newborn baby, Virginia, the first English child born in the Americas. Little does he know, he will never see them again. When White returns to Roanoke 3 years later, he is met with an eerie silence. The colony is deserted. The houses are gone, the streets empty. The only clue to the colonists' fate is a single word carved into a tree: Croatoan, the name of a nearby island and a Native American tribe. What happened to the lost colony of Roanoke? Did they fall victim to disease, starvation, or conflict with the natives? Did they assimilate into the Croatoan tribe, or were they victims of some unknown fate? The answers remain elusive, lost to the mists of time. The mystery of Roanoke serves as a stark reminder of the perilous nature of early American exploration. It speaks to the courage and resilience of those early colonists, as well as the challenges and uncertainties they faced in a new and often unforgiving world. The lost colony remains a haunting reminder of the fragility of human endeavor and the enduring power of the delicate balance between individual liberty and the rule of law in a democratic society. Chapter 6. The Gadsden Purchase, Redrawing the Map. The year is 1853. The United States, having just acquired vast territories in the Mexican-American War, is a nation on the move, its eyes set on westward expansion and the dream of a transcontinental railroad. But a crucial piece of land, a sliver of territory in present-day Arizona and New Mexico, stands in the way. This land, owned by Mexico, is essential for the construction of a southern transcontinental railroad route. Enter James Gadsden, American diplomat and railroad enthusiast, tasked with negotiating the purchase of this vital territory. Gadsden's mission is fraught with challenges. Mexico, still smarting from its defeat in the previous war, is reluctant to cede more land. Internal political divisions in the United States threaten to derail the deal entirely. Despite the obstacles, Gadsden perseveres. Through shrewd diplomacy and a hefty sum of $10 million, he secures the purchase of over 29,000 square miles of Mexican territory. The Gadsden Purchase, as it comes to be known, though relatively small in size, has a significant impact on the future of the United States. It completes the contiguous United States, establishing the final southern border with Mexico that exists today. It facilitates the construction of the Southern Pacific Railroad, a key factor in the development of the American West, and it fuels the growing sectional tensions over slavery, as the newly acquired territory becomes a battleground for the expansion of slave power. The Gadsden Purchase, a seemingly minor footnote in the annals of history, stands as a testament to the power of diplomacy, the allure of westward expansion, and the enduring legacy of manifest destiny in shaping the destiny of a nation. Chapter 7. The Zoot Suit Riots, Threads of Tension. The year is 1943. World War II rages across the globe, and the United States, embroiled in a fight for freedom and democracy abroad, faces a different kind of conflict at home, a conflict rooted in racial prejudice and social injustice. In the heart of Los Angeles, tensions erupt into violence in what becomes known as the Zoot Suit Riots. The Zoot Suit, with its long jacket, baggy pants, and wide-brimmed hat, becomes a symbol of defiance and cultural pride for Mexican-American youth, known as Pachucos. But in the eyes of many white Americans, the Zoot Suit represents something else entirely: delinquency, extravagance, and a threat to wartime rationing efforts. Fueled by racial prejudice and wartime anxieties, tensions simmer between white servicemen stationed in Los Angeles and Mexican-American youth. A minor altercation on June 3, 1943, ignites the tinderbox. For days, violence engulfs the city. Mobs of white servicemen, often aided by local police, attack Mexican-American youth and anyone wearing zoot suits. They are beaten, stripped of their clothing, and their hair is forcibly cut. The riots expose the deep racial divisions within American society, even as the nation fights against fascism abroad. The Zoot Suit Riots, though a dark chapter in Los Angeles history, serve as a catalyst for change. They galvanize the Mexican-American community, sparking the beginnings of the Chicano movement and a fight for civil rights that will echo through the decades to come. These riots remind us that the fight for freedom and equality is not always fought on distant battlefields. It is often a struggle waged in our own backyards, a struggle against prejudice, discrimination, and the enduring legacy of racism in America. Chapter 8. The Hartford Convention, Whispers of Discontent. The year is 1814. The United States, once again at war with Great Britain, faces a crisis of unity. New England, its economy battered by the war and its Federalist Party deeply opposed to President James Madison's policies, convenes a secret meeting in Hartford, Connecticut. The Hartford Convention, shrouded in secrecy and fueled by rumors of secession and disunion, becomes a lightning rod for controversy. For 3 weeks, delegates from 5 New England states gather behind closed doors, their deliberations hidden from public scrutiny. The War of 1812, they argue, has been disastrous for New England. Its trade is crippled, its citizens burdened by taxes, and its voice in government ignored by the southern and western states. They demand changes to the Constitution, including measures to limit the power of the federal government and protect the interests of New England. The timing of the convention, coinciding with American military defeats, fuels accusations of treason and disloyalty. The Federalist Party, already on the wane, is branded as unpatriotic and divisive. Ironically, news of the Treaty of Ghent, ending the war in a negotiated peace, reaches Washington just as the Hartford Convention concludes. The Federalist Party, once a powerful force in American politics, is discredited, its influence fading into obscurity. The Hartford Convention, though ultimately unsuccessful in achieving its aims, has a lasting impact on American politics. It exposes the deep regional divisions that threaten to tear the young nation apart. It highlights the fragility of national unity in times of war and hardship, and it serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of political extremism and the importance of preserving the Union. Chapter 9. The Raid on Harper's Ferry, A Fanatic's Dream. a nation's nightmare. The year is 1859. The United States, deeply divided over the issue of slavery, teeters on the brink of a cataclysm. In the small town of Harper's Ferry, Virginia, a fiery abolitionist named John Brown sets in motion a chain of events that will reverberate through the nation's soul. Brown, a man of unwavering conviction and a history of violent confrontations over slavery, believes that only armed insurrection can end the scourge of human bondage. He targets the federal arsenal at Harper's Ferry, hoping to seize weapons and spark a slave rebellion across the South. On the night of October 16th, Brown and a small band of followers, both black and white, seize the arsenal and take hostages. But their daring raid quickly unravels. Local militia surround the arsenal, and news of the uprising reaches Washington. The U.S. Marines, commanded by Colonel Robert E. Lee, arrive to quell the rebellion. A fierce firefight ensues, ending in Brown's capture and the deaths of several of his men. Brown is tried for treason, convicted and hanged on December 2, 1859. John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry, though a tactical failure, has a seismic impact on the nation. In the North, he is hailed as a martyr, a righteous warrior against slavery. In the South, he is vilified as a terrorist, a symbol of Northern aggression and a harbinger of the violence to come. Brown's raid deepens the chasm between North and South, pushing the nation closer to the precipice of civil war. His actions serve as a stark reminder of the explosive nature of slavery and the lengths to which men would go to defend or destroy it. Chapter 10. Circumnavigating the Globe. The Forgotten Voyage of Captain Gray. The year is 1787. The newly independent United States, eager to establish itself as a maritime power, sets its sights on the vast Pacific Ocean and the lucrative trade routes that crisscross its waters. At the helm of this ambitious endeavor is Captain Robert Gray, a seasoned mariner with a thirst for exploration and a nose for profit. Gray's journey, aboard his ship the Columbia Rediviva, is a testament to the spirit of adventure and the pursuit of commerce that defined early America. He sails from Boston, rounds the treacherous Cape Horn, and sets course for the Pacific Northwest, a region teeming with fur-bearing animals and the promise of riches. Gray's voyage is fraught with peril. He faces storms, disease, and encounters with wary indigenous populations, but he perseveres, driven by a combination of ambition and a keen sense of national pride. In May 1790, Gray achieves a historic first. He sails into a mighty river, which he names after his ship, the Columbia. He explores this waterway, establishing an American claim to the region and laying the groundwork for future American settlement and expansion. Gray's voyage is not merely about exploration and trade, it is about securing a place for the fledgling United States on the world stage. His circumnavigation of the globe, the first by an American vessel, boosts American maritime prestige and opens up new avenues for trade and diplomacy. Captain Robert Gray's name may not be as widely known as some of his contemporaries, but his voyage aboard the Columbia Rediviva marks a pivotal moment in American history. It is a story of courage, resilience, and the pursuit of opportunity that helped shape the nation's destiny and its place in the world. Outrow Unearthing the Past. These 10 forgotten moments, some tragic, some triumphant, are just a glimpse into the rich tapestry of American history. They remind us that the past is not a static monolith, but a dynamic force that continues to shape our present and our future. These moments may not be in every history book, but their impact is undeniable. They challenge us to look beyond the familiar narratives, to delve deeper into the lesser-known corners of our past, and to appreciate the complex and often surprising ways in which our nation has been shaped. What other forgotten events do you think shaped America? Let us know in the comments below.